Hello, good people of the internet. Today we are playing the Rogue Prince of Persia, which is an action roguelike kind of game made by, maybe not the creators of Dead Cells, but the people who have made Dead Cells what it is today. We are gonna jump in and explain the game as we go. Now, you can unlock various biomes in the game. In fact, there is progression, lots and lots of progression. We're gonna start off in the village that you'll start off, which is Zagros village. And the game, as I mentioned, action roguelike kind of platformer, early access, but it's also parkour. So Prince of Persia, if you don't know, has special time abilities, but in this game there is no rewinding of time except for between levels. Well, between deaths you kind of rewind time. There is a story going on. Apparently we attacked the Huns, but we didn't do it so successfully, and so everything is going bad. And we are trying to fix it, I guess. So every time we die, we're going back in time. Now, there are enemies in the world, and I'm going to smash them up whilst talking through maybe some of the actions that you can do. Or describing what this is. This is a well. It doesn't say what it is today. Anyway, you can fast travel between these things, so if you think that you've missed a path somewhere, you can go down that path again. You can bring up the map and scroll around and see there's nothing over there, but we have a choice now. We can either go down or we can go up. So we're going to go down. So standard kind of jump. You can jump. You can jump onto walls and jump off walls. And if you can see in the background walls, then you can wall climb on those walls. You can vault over enemies with B. You can get behind them. And in the air, you can dash with that same button. And you can press Y to kick. I'm talking Xbox controller controls. I'm sure you can play with other controllers or mouse and keyboard. And you can view the map from wherever. You don't have to be at one of those fountains. So as I say, we can go up or down. We're going to go down. And there are quite a few enemies on the screen. The game, like with Dead Cells, is not very forthcoming with health. So the one thing you don't want to do is get hit by random enemies. And you'll on occasion see enemies in blue, which means they have a shield, so you need to get rid of the shield, which you can do by hitting them, or in a couple of other ways. So you can stun them by, like, if you kick someone into them, they will die. And this person is helpful. So if we kick them, you can see that the person behind had a blue shield, and they have now lost it. You can also, there's this dive attack. So when in the air, if you hold jump and down, then you will jump down into the ground as a dive. There is currency. So we have picked up some gold. That is your in-run currency. We now have 400 or so. And some maps have multiple exits. So this would take us to the Grand Academy, which is an interesting place. But it's not very far into level, and we could decide actually we want to go back and do something else first. And there's even a person here that we can go talk to. Although we didn't see them, but the game noticed that they were there. And this is kind of the story aspect. Now, normally if there's a new storyline element, then it would have an exclamation mark over their head. And when you interact, they would say something new. But this is probably just going to say something that we have seen in the past. You might not have seen it. But this is Azadeh. I apologize if I'm saying his name incorrectly. And he is staying in the village, even though the village is going to be attacked by Huns. So yes, we could go to the Grand Academy, which is quite fun. It's I guess it's one of those places where you have to unlock it first anyway. We're going to try and kick this to get rid of the aura. And occasionally you'll find little rooms like this. The Grand Academy actually has loads. I don't know if that would have hurt us. And you can either find treasure in here, or you can find shops, or you can find places to upgrade things, or you can find a big purple jug of whatever, and we'll get to that maybe when we find it. You have a weapon which does damage, and there are different types of weapons. These are double daggers, which are very quick. The raw sword isn't slow by any means, but this version is slightly better. So, as an upgraded version, it will hopefully do more damage. So you can see my attacks are slower now, but they are, well, more powerful, hopefully. There is also a power-up attack, so if you hold down the attack button, then each weapon does slightly different attacks. And in fact, there is this bow on the ground, and your bow, so you can see in the top left next to my weapon, that we have another weapon there. And that's the bow, which, okay, apparently I'm terrible at firing the bow because I fired it over his head. Now, I am on low health, and the game, as I said, is not very good with letting you get health. So you have 2 potions, or maybe you start with 1, and they heal about half your health. So use them sparingly. At the beginning of each biome, you'll be able to, well, maybe it's not always the beginning, but there will be a fountain which you can refill your potions. If you have a space for it, anyway. Okay, you can't do any of these things that I'm trying to do. It's not the easiest of games. It can be a bit mean. In theory, I should really heal, because if you die, you die. So here's another shop. Well, another shop, a shop. It provides for 200 coins healing. And then we have medallions, or chakrams, and we're being attacked in the shop. I'm not sure the game should really allow that. Right, we'll go out the shop and kick this guy's butt. Okay, so there are these things called medallions, which are your in-game upgrades. So this one is, when finding a new Well of Dreams, it restores health points. So we can purchase that, and then we have to choose a slot. So at the top, I'll use my mouse, you'll see here it tells you what it is going to boost. So it boosts the slots to the side of it, or one to the right of it. And on its own, the medallion will restore health, but if you then have upgraded boosts from other medallions, then this would restore additional health. So this is relying on other medallions in the correct places to upgrade it. So we're going to stick this on the left, because that's the correct place, as far as I'm concerned. You can buy more things, but I don't actually have the coin for it, and I don't think those were good upgrades. Oh yeah, fun things you can do. You can like kick people off ledges, which also kills them. I mean, I was expecting to get my cash, but anyway. What else? Okay, so here is another medallion, which, what does it do? When an enemy collides with an obstacle, we restore energy points. The energy is what is used to power the bow and the ranged attack. So if you see I've got 3 charges, if I fire my bow, I lose a charge, and to get it back requires getting energy, which I don't know all the ways to get energy, but medallions normally provide a good way to do it. Maybe beating up enemies gives you some base amount. And there is something down here. Is it another medallion? Yeah, sometimes the game gives you loads, sometimes it doesn't. This one, when hitting an enemy from afar, you restore more energy. Is this thing on the left? Yes, it does boost itself. So we kind of want to put it there so it gets an extra boost. So that one boosts 2 to the right. Sorry, to the left. You can see during a run the map, you can see your medallions, you can confirm what you have, and you can see this mind map, which we will get to later. Here is the purple glittering vase thing that I mentioned earlier. So throughout the run, you may have seen me collecting purple glittering things. And in the top right, I'll get the mouse and highlight again, we have 23 and 49. Now 49 is the amount that I've banked, and 23 is the amount that I've picked up, which I have not banked. So to bank them, you have to go to one of these spirit glimmer fountains, and you can send them back to your oasis, which is where we started. But when you use it, you've finished, like, it breaks. So if you find it early on in the run, you maybe don't want to use it, and you can then come back to it later on. Now I think we're going to the end of the level, which is fine, but if you wanted to go back and do more exploring, you could. Otherwise, you're going to move on to the next biome. You know, if you thought, actually, I don't want to go to the ruined aqueduct, I want to go to the Grand Academy, you can choose at this point to go back. But we're going to go to the ruined aqueduct. At the top, you'll see the kind of progression. So the biomes, I think there is a set progression. Obviously, there's a few options, but you don't have to. For example, the first one I think is always the village or the Hun camp, which we didn't go to, and the second is always the aqueduct that we're in now, or the Grand Academy. Anyway, this is the fountain I mentioned. You can see that we now have an extra potion, and there are these cool slides, and you can jump and do some wall running. In fact, if you have a ledge like this with your wall run, you can hold on to it, and you'll just sit there. Which is maybe a sign that we could be able to get up there. I don't know. Probably. As I say, I'm no expert at this game. You can have all the fun sliding, and then we have more enemies. And the enemies are different between the biomes. Not entirely different, but, you know, they get better and harder. So there are these guys. Okay, we are getting stuck on that thing. So we had some bomb throwers before, but this time we have this guy as well, who brings up like a pile of spikes or something, so from afar, which is kind of annoying. But we'll kick him to make sure he loses his aura, and then we got hit by something, I don't know what. There are bridges. Maybe I'm not stung them as much as I thought it was. Sometimes you have platforms which, after standing on them, fade away, like any good platformer. And yes, we need to heal, so we should heal. Obviously don't stand on spikes. You can come down here. I think we're about to find our mother. So yeah, some of the layouts are not like... Yeah, we went past something there. A nice treasure chest, which you have to use your parkour skills to get back. Okay, Vampiric Demise, which actually goes nicely in that corner, but means that we can restore energy points, but we're not going to restore health when we get to Well of Dreams. We could stick this here. But I think it's actually better than this. So we're going to just replace it, even though we need the health. And we'll pick up the gold. That was a archer or crossbowman of some kind. That improves our bow, so we'll do that. And seeing as we're at the bottom here, and it's not very useful, we can just fast travel up a little section. So yes, as I was saying, whilst the layout looks like it has been procedurally generated, it has some rooms or, you know, predefined things which it tries to fit into the map, and sometimes they look very similar in terms of the route. Or maybe it's more well-defined than I think. Anyway, so this is an example of a story event which we haven't come to. This is our mother. We've spoken to her a couple of times. Life but been held up. We have to rescue Shahin, who is our brother, and we have at this point worked out that he has been captured by the evil horned person who will probably come fight in a minute. But we haven't got as far as actually rescuing them. CS Barood, 100 rule. That monster is prowling around the city ramparts. What does she do? Captured Shahin in the Academy archives. And we're going to go find him. But I think finding him... I think they're in the Tower of Oblivion. I think to get to the Tower of Oblivion requires defeating the person mentioned. Now we could upgrade our sword, but I think there will be better uses for the coin, and we may just find a better weapon anyway. So we're not going to do that, but we're going to go back up here and go a different way, because that was kind of a dead end. And if we change our mind, then we can always use the same well system, fountain system, whatever it calls it. Yeah, so we can use that same system to go back. And I don't really use my special ability because it takes a long time to wind up. But maybe I should use it more. Where's this going to take us? Down here. So this is... it says it looks like the way to the Tower of Oblivion. We have found on our mind map already this information, so I'm not quite sure why it's telling me again. Maybe that's a bug. But this is the mind map. So when you find things throughout the story, it will tell you, or like adds a little icon here, and if you haven't read it, then it'll have an exclamation mark. But this is... Can we zoom in? We can. This is Barood, the Hun general in charge of keeping watch on the outer ramparts, and they are a boss, for sure. And they have captured someone, which is what we found out earlier, and then when we went to the academy, we found clothing from Shahin. So it looks like it's him, and this is our brother who we need to go find. We haven't quite made this link, but they are the exact person, but I suppose we will later on. And then up here, this is the slowest gate in the aqueduct, which there's a strange gate, yes. It seems to be blocking the water flow, but it's missing the lever needed to activate it. So we need to find the lever of some kind, which, yes, I have yet to find. Where are we in terms of this map? Can we go up? We can. Just trying to kick him to get rid of the aura field, whatever you want to call it. I think the game calls it an aura. We are, as you might expect, low on health again. Sticky vault. So every time you perform a vault, it can spread resin. Do we have a space? I mean, we have a space, so we might not keep it that much longer. Should be using my ranged attack more often because we have good energy. Yeah, we gain energy whenever enemies collide with obstacles and when we hit things from afar. So if anything, that should refill things very well. Sure, we're going to interact with this just because. We could have waited, but didn't see the need. Aha! Now this is a puzzle room. At least I call it a puzzle room. So inside here, the door marked with the red flags and a red haze. You're not going to find too many enemies, but you are going to find yourself in a bit of a platforming maze, which I just messed up. And this may be the end of the run if I aren't careful. So it's going to really test my platforming abilities. And the concentration was required, hence no talking. But at the end, you'll get to a chest, and you can get a few things. You're, at least what I'm finding, because I haven't unlocked everything, you will get a new medallion blueprint, which means that you can unlock it with some of this glittering spirit glimmer, because these spirit glimmers are actually your currency for meta progression. But we are given a toxic demise, which we could replace our vampiric demise. So whenever an enemy is killed, we would get energy points, but also release cloud of poison, whereas our vampiric demise is currently just restoring energy points. But, well, could restore health, but isn't currently. We could put this here, and that means whenever an enemy is killed, we're going to get so many energy points back. But there wasn't necessarily a good stacking of improvements there. Anyway, we get some extra health. That's max health, which is useful. And did I miss picking up something? I don't know. You can go all the way around and find out if you want to. And there is a shop, which implies that we're getting towards the end, maybe. So we could change up that thing that we just got. Or we could use better daggers. Yeah, let's take this, because that plays better over here. Even though we're not going to get energy when enemies are killed, we're going to get energy when we take hits. Now, going into the boss fight, that's going to be important. It also meant that we improved this one, the flaming projectiles. We're going to set fire to the area. We could also change up for a chakram, but I think it's better to take double dagger. We haven't shown the double daggers special, which if you hold, then you kind of do like a little thing like that. But of course, it's just ever so slightly slow that it forces me to take damage. Just trying to get rid of the aura. Right, now. Yeah, it's as I say, punishing sometimes the game. Although you just maybe would be a lot better than me. Oh look, we didn't have to pay for the daggers. And even though we paid for some health, we have lost most of it already. That is pretty much the game. We can skip past these opponents if we want to, because I'm bored battling them. Well, not bored. But just trying to get the video to move on. There is sometimes a sacrifice point. We don't necessarily have the health. Well, we do have the health, but we'd be on very low health. And you can get something like a medallion or a weapon. We're going to ignore it because we're relatively happy with our loadout. Actually, what's going to kill them? Yeah, maybe it was going to be sensible to kill things. We should use our distance weapon a lot more than I currently do, especially because it has bonuses for us. Right, so some free gold. And this may be the end, even though I said that several times. Yes. The outer ramparts is the third area. Always at the moment. I don't know if that changes after if you beat the boss. I have not beaten this boss. So we have almost full health. We have one potion. And this is the guy that you need to defeat. So we fell into the trap, but we already know it. And they do various things. We're going to hit them with our ranged attack, but we might just do it a lot. Maybe it's a bit cheesy to do that, like cheesing the game. And they will run at you and throw things at you, which you need to avoid, which I'm terrible at avoiding apparently. And now we've run out of energy. But getting hit restores our energy, because that's one of the medallions that we have. And there may be more skilled people out there who would be able to do this a lot quicker than me. But like I say, I've never actually done this, so this is maybe the most successful I've been. No, I have got this far. So at some point then, as you might expect from a boss battle, it all gets harder, because why would it need to stay the same difficulty when you're already struggling? And we should heal when we maybe have the opportunity. Yes, don't do that. And also they've made smaller the area which we can jump on, so it makes it harder to get away from things. And now we're already low on health. And we have to be in the middle. But the vault does work. But as you can see, this time, despite being very, very close, I was unsuccessful. But that's good, because now we can talk about meta progression. Or at least what happens when you die. So you die, and as the game will tell you, we are now back at Sukra's Oasis. Yeah, Sukra's Oasis. This is 3 days since the city was first invaded. Since, or before, I don't know. We go back in time. There is this, your little tent, and you have a little fireplace, and you can get upgrades. Now, as I mentioned with the spirit glimmers, you can and will lose them if you haven't put them into the fountain. So you should. However, if you, for example, didn't get to see the fountain, you may want to invest your points into this tree, which I did, because I was early on not finding the fountain at all. And this allows you to do things like every time you enter a new level to get some spirit glimmers sent to the oasis for free, or with each death you don't lose all of them, you still get to bring some back. So that's good for helping you progress. That's probably important on the ship take as well. On this path you have increasing your max health, allowing you to have extra potions, all very good, starting with extra gold, and this one which I should probably take now, the dive attack breaks the enemy's auras without having to slam them into things. So we could get that. I'm not going to, because we're not going to do another run now, but we will show you some other things. There is like a practice training area here if you need to, so you can hit something, do that. You can practice your wall running, parkour. Anyway, there is a shop, so you can unlock the weapons that we had. There are, well, I think we had only seen 2 in that run, but there were 3 that you get to start. There's like an axe as well, which is quite heavy duty. But then there are more that you can unlock in the game. Not just the main weapon, but the side weapon. So, and these are blueprints that you have unlocked. So you unlock the blueprint and you get to use it at that time. However, to use it again, you have to unlock it with the glimmers at Sukra's forge. And these do various things. So the spear, each special attack is different. They all have different speeds. The sword blade is the ranged weapon, but it comes back and hurts you even more. And yes, so there's all those weapons. You can even see which ones you've unlocked. This is the axe I was mentioning. And these are the tools. You can see I haven't actually used anything in that shop. And then, well, before we talk to these people, there is this guy who has their own shop. He has the medallion upgrades, or rather unlocks. They're not actually upgrades, they're just new ones. And there's lots and lots of them. So this is the toxic demise that now appears in his shop, which didn't before, but we need to go through the game to get the blueprints to have more and more. One which I probably should invest in is this immortal medallion, which at the moment of death will bring you back to life. So if I had that, maybe we would have survived that last boss fight. Anyway, you can then talk to the people. In fact, you can inspect which medallions you have, which upgrades you have. Maybe the game, as this is early access, there will be more upgrades in the future. But these are things that you'll find in the world, or maybe you can upgrade these. I don't know. Things to find out in the future. So yes, you come back here, there's some story. He must be crazy, devoting himself to the forge. So he misses time spent with the palace. Anyway, that story. Patchy understands the special bowler, which allows us to go back in time because his father created it. And he has powers, maybe. Anyway, this is the game, and you can probably progress a lot better than I can. You can, if you want, as I say, go up. Instead of going to the village, you can go to Huns camp. As you may expect, push you back to the beginning of the run. But you're going through a different biome this time. But I think, well, you obviously have different enemies and it's going to be harder. Or you could just run into a wall. Yeah. But it's the same sort of thing. There are different story elements that happen in this place. And I think the buildings that, not buildings, the biomes that you unlock in here are the same. But there may not be. I don't know if that's the case all the way through the game in terms of the path that you take. Anyway, this is the Rogue Prince of Persia. If I didn't mention, the key was kindly provided. If you've made it this far, you probably like this, so please leave a like, it really does help. Subscribe for more like this on the channel, and I want to thank you for watching, and hope you have a great day.